Listen, laugh, and learn.
You have to drill that target audience.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Until they are consuming your product, not because they love it, but because they can't escape.
We're all business.
Drill, baby, no more pussyfooting around.
Except when we're not.
That's apropos. You know, I think maybe we need to get hold of Drew and maybe change some of our imaging and get rid of Sarah Palin. What do you think?
I think you got to keep Sarah in.
You like Sarah?
Yes, drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby,
no
drill,
more
baby. No more pussyfooting around.
She may be our next Secretary of the Interior. I can see Russia from my porch.
Well,
Cut down that tree, put that pipeline in. Well, we'll see how it goes.
welcome to the Focus Group. This is our latest edition here on November 19th. I'm Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. My sweater today, John, it's a different color. I don't know what color you'd call it.
I
Looks
call
kinda
that
dark.
like burgundy.
Is it brown?
It's like it's a burgundy brown. Yeah, it's a mix because
you're watching-
there's more than one wool in there. There's a couple colors. Yeah, there's two
My
colors.
niece has got me this one Christmas.
It did a good job.
If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see us in
Tube of you.
the tube of you. You can see us in living color on our set here in Manhattan, and or you can of course still listen to us through any of our various multiple platforms. And it's probably easiest for you to go to focusgroupradio.com and select your platform of choice. It's things such as, John, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Reverie, now on
The
Reverie
Reverie
TV,
app on the
Apple TV.
Apple TV.
And subscribe, like, or rate us when you go there as well. And all of our social media is branded Focus Group Radio as well, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And our phone number is 914-FOCUS-GR, which is 914-362. Put my glasses on, 8747. If you want to give us a call and let us know what you think. And if we use your question on air, we'll get you a pair of our famous Focus Group Radio socks, which this year's edition are purple.
And yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we will be rolling out very shortly ways to sign up to get the socks. And the socks are very popular and people love those socks. So
Like the socks?
yeah, in fact, you get this, like I've gotten people emailing me like and with pictures
With the holes
of
in
a
them?
hole worn through. Can I please have a new pair? Yeah.
They weren't even made in China.
They're made
They're
here.
made in San Diego.
They're made in San Diego.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Anything exciting?
Thanksgiving will be the traditional gathering at our friend Trace and Christine's home. And they just moved to a new apartment on the.
Turkey or capon?
Always have turkey. Yeah, and it's usually turkey's made by our friends Pat and Gary. They handle the turkey.
What do you handle?
Side
wine?
dish. Like I think in the past it's been this creamed onion thing. And what are some of the candied? Yeah, so candied yams are apparently the side dish that we're responsible for.
This year, do you do the marshmallows in them?
No,
No.
that's a special treat though. Don't you like the little mini marshmallows?
Marshmallows, they melt a little
Melt
bit.
them in there. Yeah, you're going home to your parents.
I'm going to Connecticut, where the past is still present. I go up there for Thanksgiving with my mom and my dad. Which
Are your nieces going to be there?
My nieces will be there with I think both of their boyfriends. I think.
Yeah, that's their age. That's
My mother
the age
makes
they're
this. Yeah, my mother makes this. I've tried to replicate it. I can't. She picked it up from my ex-sister-in-law. Some sort of Ritz cracker, Velveeta cheese, broccoli casserole with a stick of butter. It's so white trash, and it is so delicious.
Well, wait. It starts with Ritz crackers.
Yeah, there's a
Then it
Pyrex
goes
dish,
Velveeta cheese.
frozen broccoli.
If you threw a can of Spam in,
Might be
maybe
delicious.
corned beef and hash, like canned meat, you could.
Well, because my mom always makes, she overdoes it. She still does what my grandmother did. So she'll still do the creamed onions and all that
Okay,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. And
There's
so
always more
I
food.
said this year, right, you don't have to do all the vegetables. She said, well, what do you have? Do you have a request? And as much as I always make fun of this broccoli Velveeta cheese thing, I'm like,
You wanted the.
and it is so good the second day. And then if you're doing a turkey sandwich with little, cranberry
It's so good the second day.
or leftovers. And then, of course, my mother just will put out the, she's in her, God bless her old age, she just, the cranberry in the can, just blump, right on the dish.
By the way, I love that.
The cranberry in the can.
And it has the lines.
rings on it,
The
slice it.
libbies, like whoever makes the
And it comes out like, what was that thing that when we were kids, this mushy, gushy, what was it called?
Play-Doh.
Yeah, but wasn't there something else that made the fart noise in the can? I thought there was something. It was that stuff, the goo, it was
goo
slime.
stuff. It was slime.
Slime.
It was slime, and it came in a little trash can. Remember,
Yeah.
it was a plastic trash can. Oh my God, John!
Throw it around.
John and Garrett, I think, had our technicians, our associate producers. I think they had the exact same kind of childhood toys we did.
Are they
No doubt
millennials?
about
Are they considered millennials?
You guys, millennial? Yeah, they're no. Garrett says no.
18 to 34 is a millennial.
Oh, okay. Well, not Garrett. Yeah.
I have a millennial in one of my caught my eyes. I have a millennial thing, so
You have a millennial thing?
we'll have to deal with that. So yeah, so the Thanksgiving, I'm looking forward to it, but I and then Christmas is right around the corner, of course.
At this time of year, in particular, this show, like the second or third week of November,
Right.
I scratch my head and I'm like, where did the year go? And I know where it went. You could look at your calendar. I know what I was doing every day. It's right there, but it just boom.
Yeah.
And as a function of getting older, it seems to go faster.
Well, they always say that, right?
Yeah, and also I will tell you that the profession that we're in, even when we were both full-time advertising and marketing, you're always months and days and weeks ahead of yourself.
Right.
It's like retail. Like, my friend Sal is in retail, and he's thinking months in advance. And so I think when you have that mentality, the day-to-day stuff, suddenly you're at December.
He's getting ready for spring.
Yeah. Well, I think they're getting ready. They're through resort wear, or whatever that strange season is between
Shoulder season.
between winter and spring. There's that resort wear or something. Yeah.
So what caught your eye this week?
Art caught my eye.
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Art.
Yes, a sculptor reaps the rewards of art deals brokered in the bedroom. This one was a New York Times article, and this is wild. About 5 years ago, in a Brooklyn loft overlooking the East River, the artist Sky Ferrante was working on his latest creation, studying a nude model and twisting an elongated piece of wire to create an intricate sculpture. So what he does, it's not a pencil or anything, he actually takes this wire, and while the model's laying there, he sculpts this sculpture thing. Mr. Ferrante, who divides his time between London, New York, and Paris, has sculpted similar nude portraits of dozens of women, many of whom worked in New York's burlesque scene. This particular model, a Brooklyn resident who asked to be identified only as Josephine, a name she sometimes used professionally, had dabbled in high-end prostitution. Now, she basically said to him at one point that she would like to broker his art to some of her clients.
Well, you can't tell what it is. I don't even see her titties. Do you? Can you go in on that? If you're watching on the YouTube.
I think John can zoom in on the right-hand side.
Where is she?
There she is. That's the laying.
Where is
and there's
she?
the face. See that? See the face? And there's her hands. It's very abstract, but it's just a piece of wire that's been.
Where are her breasts?
Well, his hand would be where they are. Like, see how John's doing that? All right, so
Would you buy that?
it's not me, but it's not my style per se.
Not me.
I'd probably get more fun out of
Wonder
watching
what it costs.
Kubo and the Two Strings again. Well, Josephine approached one of her clients, and she struck a deal with him, and the man paid her $10,000 for the sculpture, and she agreed to split that with the artist.
Got to get some wire.
Since Mr. Ferrante learned about Josephine's other jobs, several models who work as escorts, some of them mistresses of married men, have also offered to sell his pieces to their clients. Now, they actually interview a guy that bought one of his pieces that was based on his mistress. Get this. Ziad, a married man who lives in France and asked that his last name not be used, bought one of Mr. Ferrante's
Yeah, because you
wire.
won't find it by Ziad.
I'm just like, yeah, 5. He bought one of Mr. Ferrante's wire sculptures of his mistress. He said in an interview that he felt the piece was beautifully constructed. Its depiction of the woman, her hair unruly and her eyes closed, was abstract enough for anyone to appreciate, but realistic enough that he, and not his wife, could still recognize her. So it's hanging in their house. And I'll just close this, what caught my eye, by saying the concept of men commissioning portraits of their mistresses is far from unusual. Who said Andrew Lear, a former classics professor at NYU. It's been done for many years, and in fact, there are many paintings in the Met and famous galleries of courtesans and mistresses that date all the way back to the 1700s. So it just was interesting to me that the model for a piece of art has this brainstorm that she's going to broker the deal, and I think he sells 6 to 8 of these a year, maybe more. And so, boom, right off the bat, he's getting $5,000 per thing. Just twisting a bunch,
Well, she's brand extension.
twisting the wire around. There you go.
She's hooking. She's also getting a portrait or a wire thing done.
And there's this weird thing happening in the guy's house with his wife. Like, oh, the wife saying, "Oh, I love that new piece of art you got. What is that? It's abstract art." Well, it's his business. Yeah, it's kind of a. Anyway, that caught my eye.
You find some of the craziest things.
I would normally blame you for finding the craziest.
See, I think I'd have skipped right over that.
But were you fascinated?
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you looked at it because I would not have.
Okay.
So you know what I looked at? This was my millennial thing. So do you know that just 1 out of 5 millennials has ever tasted a Big Mac?
That is very surprising. That is very surprising. 1 in 5?
Only 1 in 5.
Big Mac?
Right. You know, the 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
This is
Remember
McDonald's
that from
big
back in the
problem,
day?
right? Yeah.
So so millennials are 18 to 34. So they found that they're having a real problem with getting millennials, particularly because that's their target audience, 18 to 34, to get in and eat any of their food. But the Big Mac accounts for 20% of their business. I didn't realize that. Because I go to McDonald's maybe twice or 3 times a year, but I never get a Big Mac.
That sandwich accounts
Yeah.
for 20%
20% of their
revenue?
business. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so they said that what's happening is places like Shake Shack here in New York or Smash Burger, Five Guys, In-N-Out Burger, more fresh, unfrozen patties
Yeah.
have become more popular. In 2014, Consumer Reports did a survey of the 21 burger chains, and McDonald's was ranked last. Worst,
surprising.
Worst tasting of all.
Worst?
That's what they're saying. So they said that
Best fries, though.
fries. So
Very
they
good
said
fries.
shares have fallen at McDonald's this year alone 3.5%. The stock has taken a hit, and they need to figure out what they're going to do about the Big Mac. So they're trying to change it a little bit, and they've started something called crafted sandwiches.
So you order your ingredients.
So it's a fresh patty, and you're able to put on. It's a premium sirloin burger. You can add bacon, guacamole, or some other things, but the price point's $5, and people won't pay it. Now you'll pay $6 or $7 or $8 at a Five Guys or Shake Shack, but they won't pay more than $5 at McDonald's.
Sounds like that's a hardwired behavior based on the fact that it's McDonald's, right?
Right. So they say the actual Big Mac was invented way back in 1967 in your hometown, Pittsburgh,
There you go.
and then it was made nationwide when it launched in '67. You want to guess how much it cost?
I'm gonna say it was 54 cents.
47 cents.
Close. If I was on Let's Make a Deal, I'd get the showroom.
Today it's $4.29. They said most millennials choose Chipotle or Taco Bell or Chick-fil-A or other places, non-burgers. There was a video that came with this, and it was fascinating. So they took a bunch of these 18 to 34-year-olds that had never tasted one.
Videotaped them doing a focus group.
And then asked them. You know what the biggest takeaway was? They didn't understand why there was an extra bun in the middle.
Okay.
Like, why do you have all that bread? Don't need the extra bread in the middle. And why did you put salad dressing on it? They felt the special sauce
Russian-
tasted like salad dressing. So those were the two things.
Right.
But otherwise, they said it wasn't too bad.
$4.29 for a burger, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is a total non sequitur, and I didn't mean to really bring it up until you said that.
Well, you did.
Cost of the burger. I was pumping gas the other day, and I happened to look at the wall of the gas station, and they had a bunch of pictures of a couple of cigarette brands.
Right.
And my mouth dropped open when one brand was advertised as being like the bargain brand at $9 a pack.
Yeah, where you been? Cigarettes are $8, $9, $10 a pack.
They had $8.98, 9 something, and the other one was $10. I was like, oh my God. And then I did the math, and I'm like, if there's 20 cigarettes per pack,
Your 2-pack a day, spend it.
it's an expensive. I just remember back in the day when they were like $1.
Well, you get them from the Indians.
The
You go to the reservations and get 'em.
Reservations, yeah.
Yeah. Or you go to New Hampshire or Delaware where it's tax-free, so you get the cigarettes cheap there.
Oh, okay.
People go to those states. But yeah, no, it's an expensive habit. They did that to try to force people not to smoke.
Yeah, but I think if you enjoy it, you're probably gonna stuck paying for it, right?
Yeah.
You know, because I know people who still enjoy a nice cigarette now and then. And
Do you like a cigarette now and then?
well, I smoked out of college for a while, and I will tell
You smoke?
Well, Greg, my old roommate, used to tell me I was kind of a fake smoker. I mean, I had a Zippo, and I
Like
used,
a,
I
were you
used
like a
I was,
60s starlet? You would just
I was
walk
never
around
like
with it lit?
I was never a pack a day. I was a pack every couple of days, and so that put me in a different category. And when I gave it up very easily, and Greg was like, you know what, you were never a smoker. If you gave it up that easy, you were never a smoker.
Did you
But-
suck it into the lungs or no?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. So
And
you did like it.
I was originally Marlboro Light, then Parliament, then
Parliament's like smoking a Q-tip, isn't it?
Well, it's got that weird recessed filter. Yeah, the whole thing. But yeah, it's just $10 a pack. I mean, it's crazy, right? Oh, but anyway, most of the fun people that I met when I was going to parties out of college here in New York City, all the best people were in the smoking area. Where's everybody smoking? Over there on the fire escape or in the kitchen. Whoosh, right there, and they were the best people at the party.
So you had an audience.
Well, it just usually worked out that the most fun people were I remember once I quit for like a year, and we were at a New Year's Eve party, and my friend Erin had quit as well, and she sees this fresh pack of Marlboros just sitting. It was like 5 after midnight. Everybody was having champagne and laughing. She picks up that thing, and she goes, she taps it so it settles the tobacco. She goes, fresh pack. And she opens it. I said, Erin, don't. And
Did you have one?
well, then I went right back to smoking. And one time I gave up smoking, and Bob and I are at some street fair, and I'm like, enough of the tube socks, enough of this goddamn street fair. I was going crazy. And Bob goes, what is wrong with you? And I said, oh, I forgot to tell you, I quit smoking. He goes, there's a deli over there. He sent me into the deli to buy. Yes, I bought a pack.
Then you were fine.
And I was fine. I was like, whoo, boy, I don't know who that was. Now I'm all better. Anyway.
I've never even tried a cigarette. I believe it. I know.
Yeah.
I know that's surprising, but I never even tried.
I'm not surprised. A lot of people never touched it.
I was fascinated by it, but I never tried it. So the day in history.
Today.
Those who fail to learn from history are forced to repeat it. Enjoy this lesson from Tim. And remember, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that the truth, John? November 19th, Saturday. Today is International Men's Day. Don't get that confused with the catalog, John. The International Male
I remember
Catalog.
the International Male.
Male Catalog.
Was it? That was the, yeah.
I had an old boss at Subaru that used to get it to his office.
How oh, was he air checking it?
And I asked him one time. I would catch. He would always have it hidden. It would show up, and it would be left from the mailroom in the coffee area, and then it would disappear. And so this girl Sharon and I were on it. We're like, where does it go? Yeah. So we find out that my boss he was a young, very attractive young man, and so he was collecting the catalogs and putting them in his desk, and then we would see him looking at them, through the glass. So one day I snuck up on him, and then he got all nervous, turned red. I said, what are you doing? He says, oh, I'm looking for watches. I said, oh, do you want the one with the melted face or the one with the leopard band? I mean, what did watches of the International Male Catalog?
That thing was underwear, jock straps, and negligees for men, whatever that was.
Anyway, today's International Men's Day.
All right.
Which somebody in Trinidad Tobago started it. UN's recognized it. I never heard of it. Have you?
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said once before. Who comes up with these days?
Yeah, well, when you hear it's UN sanctioned, right then and there you got a problem. Here's another thing, November 19th. Today's World Toilet Day.
Oh, Tim, I am so glad you put that graphic up.
World Toilet?
No, remember on our road trip, we were taking the Golf All Track. We were in Yellowstone National Park, and I go to the restroom, and there's this enormous sticker. I photographed it. I think we put it on Twitter and Instagram. There's that picture, the guy standing, like squatting on the toilet seat, and it was a big X, like, don't do this. And I'm thinking, who does this?
Well, because in a lot of the Asian culture, you just go in a hole. So you would there would be rest stops.
Yeah. And
in Japan, you just squat over the hole. So they're telling you not to get up there and squat on the seat.
There's foot things that you like stand in, yeah.
And in the next one, you can see that they did as well was the other graphic. But you see those little kids there.
I love what she says.
Sign?
It says, I give a shit because...
Right, and so you can't make it up. That was the theme in 2012, children. I give a shit. And they had all these kids walking around with these signs saying that...
International Toilet Day.
I give a shit, do you? So World Toilet Day, it's a campaign to motivate and mobilize...
I love that. Where'd you find that one?
The field of toilets.
If we're watching on YouTube, Tim put up a graphic of, it looks like an art installation. It's just row after row.
Build it and they will go, or come, or shit. This other one was Spanish, where the guy's blowing all over the pot. See him there? That's
my God. Wait, I thought it was a robot or something.
This is all real stuff for World Toilet Day. I took this right off the site. I mean,
so thumbs up, the robot sitting on the commode. Thumbs down, the robot's bent over, and there's literally
explosive diarrhea,
spray marks coming out the back.
World Toilet Day.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you. So
This totally beat the wire sculpture guy who makes the mistresses for the Johns. Anyway, wow.
well, apparently there are 2.4 billion people who lack toilets in the world.
Yes,
so
that's
if you'd like to find a business, perhaps maybe China can make some toilets or something. We can get involved and get into the sanitation business. And there's 1 billion people that defecate each day in the open. So the UN once again is involved. They're trying to make everyone get a toilet.
Okay.
2014's theme was equality and dignity. In 2015, it was toilets and nutrition. This year's theme is water and jobs.
Wait. And this all
water
revolves
job.
around National Toilet Day?
Yeah, this is
Water and jobs.
water and jobs.
Well, I can see how clean water is important for communities and
Yeah.
jobs are. How you link that to the toilet. Anyway,
Well, they're saying this, the whole purpose of the UN bringing attention to this is that they said there's millions of children whose futures are compromised by poor sanitation, related nutrition problems, and then, of course, health problems because of going to the bath, poopies in the open.
there you go.
Anyway, World Toilet Day.
World Toilet Day. Well, Tim, I like that. Okay. Moving on. Day in
Moving
history.
on, 1850, the first insurance policy was issued to a woman, Carolyn Ingram. She's 36. She bought the policy right here in Madison, New Jersey.
1852, the first denial or coverage of service was
Denied.
claimed by the same company. What is it?
I can't read what it says. 1863, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address at the battlefield of Pennsylvania. 1895, do you remember this paper pencil? It was patented by Frederick Blaisdell.
Yes, this is actually a common thing in a lot of workshops because you peel the
Peel the paper.
string and
1928, Time Magazine presented its very first color photo. It was the very first.
Japan? Is that
right,
Emperor of Japan?
Hirohito was the first one on there. 1954, and they were just supposed to be there in order to pay for the road, but they're still in existence.
Tolls.
The automatic toll collectors were placed on the Garden State Parkway. in New
Wait.
Jersey.
So it was originally there to only pay for
You're
the
going to pay
construction of the road.
and the bridges and a little maintenance, and then they were going to go away. But of course, it's like the government. Once you suck on the tit, you can't give it up. So,
And of course, yes, that we know how that works. Right?
1959, the Ford Motor Company announced it was ending production of the unpopular Edsel. Poor car. That thing.
What a classic, though, huh?
It does look kind of cool now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. Now you look back at these designs, and it's like either jet age or it's the 50s.
Yep. 1997, in Carlisle, Iowa, septuplets were born to Bobby McCahey. It was only the second known case where all 7 were born alive. He said it was. He said it was quite a. The father said he'll never forget the day, and he said when he watched each kid come out of the womb, must have been like a clown car. Here's another one.
Wait, there's more. If you
more.
buy now, we'll get free shipping. Oh, wait, there's one more coming.
So Kenny Jr., Alexis, Natalie, Kelsey, Nathan, Brandon, and Joel.
It's a good-looking family, though.
Yeah, they're just about 18 years old. They obviously they had a lot of. They were thankful because the community helped them out a lot. Obviously, getting 7 kids all
I
at
don't
once
think
is a
anybody
huge deal.
plans for that. Right?
No, and they had somebody helped them get a larger home. Obviously, a bigger car for them to move around in, and also they were offered full scholarships to any university of their choice in Iowa.
Wow.
They were born, and they were all taking advantage of it. So good for them.
Yeah, very good.
And then 1998, the impeachment started for President Clinton. We all remember that time. And then this one, Vincent van Gogh's Portrait of an Artist Without a Beard, sold at auction. So did you see that picture? What would you pay for that?
You put down 71
million. I could have drawn that.
I'd actually like to see you do that. I'm going to bring in you could sketch
I have
on my
artwork. I
iPad.
should show you my artwork. I do beautiful artwork. Yeah, I'll take pictures. Next show.
Okay, no. I'm filing this away. That just went right into the hopper, and I'm like, okay, well, you could draw on my iPad. Maybe you could make a picture for us during one show.
I had a picture that hung in an art museum for years, Connecticut.
The library?
No, it was like the Stanford Museum of Art. I'll have to tell you the story. I'll bring the picture in and show it to you.
One room with 4 walls.
It's hanging in my living room. It's fantastic.
Have I seen this?
No.
Okay.
In 2007, the Amazon Kindle was released. I don't have one. I know you do.
I like my Kindle. I don't use it all the time, but at night, it's perfect before you go to bed because it's just like a book and it doesn't make you stay up late.
So what happened in science this week?
Science.
Don't be blinded with science. Here's what you need to know from the week in science, according to John. It's poetry in motion.
I chose 3 things that are simple things, but the first one is for you.
Uh-oh.
And this comes to us from Canada. It's on November 19th, the last component in 1996 of the Confederation Bridge was placed crossing the Northumberland Strait. It attaches
in British Columbia?
It attaches Prince Edward Island and Cape Girarmain, New Brunswick, and it's the longest bridge over ice-covered water. It's 12.9 kilometers, so that's about 8.2 miles, roughly. It's gorgeous, I think.
Over ice-covered
Longest bridge. And it says the bridge construction began in 93, was opened in 97, and I think we have another picture of it's designed to accommodate, see how that's a cruise ship going through. And on the right there is the bridge is being constructed, but this one fascinated me.
Love a bridge.
I adore bridges. The bridge was built curved. They purposely added a curve in so that drivers could always see the traffic in front of them, a design chosen to reduce accidents.
So what's the curve do?
So, if you're, like when we were on our road trip out west, remember we came out of
A lot of straight roads.
Yeah, remember we came out of Beartooth Mountain,
Right.
or Beartooth, the highway, and it was just straight to Billings, and you'd see the shimmering headlights on the horizon, it would throw you off. Apparently, if there's a slight curve in the road, that avoids that problem, and so they put the curve in the bridge.
It wasn't like they didn't have room to do it in Montana.
Exactly. They could have done curve all around. That's America for you. On the 20th of November in 1998, the first module of what would become the International Space Station was launched on a Russian rocket from Baikonur Cosmodrome.
That was Skylab.
And it does look like Skylab. You're right. So that was the first piece lifted into orbit. Later on,
That's still up there?
That's part of the International Space Station. It's the very first part. And there's another picture I put in here of the whole thing. I can't tell you which part you're looking at before, but the space station is like a city in space now. It's pretty big. We've launched, all our consortium partners have put a lot of hardware in
Haven't
orbit.
they said its life is about ready
It's
to...
almost expiring, yeah, because this was a project that was begun in 93, or actually the planning went from 83 forward, so it's several, it's 2 decades old now, or some almost.
The Russians, right? We have to rely on the Russians to get up and back still.
We need their Soyuz and their capsules and their rockets to go back.
I wouldn't mind going up there. I think that's a quick trip. I'm not going to Mars.
You launch to the space station, and then you spend a good deal of time orbiting the Earth, catching up to the space station, and then coming back is another matter entirely, because when you come back on a Russian capsule that just drops into the Kazakhstan desert. It doesn't, the Americans, we drop you into the Pacific.
Right.
Nice little crash landing on water. Oh, it's the Pacific. No, you end up in the Kazakhstan plains. And lastly, in 1497, Portuguese navigator, and we had to learn all this in school. You'll remember the name Vasco da Gama.
Oh, yeah.
What was he known for?
He went around, didn't he go around the Horn or something?
Cape of Good Hope. Very good. Very good. So there you go.
I just thought that was some Renaissance dude. I didn't know what that was when I was doing the show run.
Did you put Renaissance dude in for John as the cue? Did he do that, John? Did he put in?
It says Renaissance dandy. Look at that hat.
Dandy.
He's a bit of a dandy, isn't he?
There you go.
All right. And we have 3 quick birthdays.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
It's funny, sometimes it's feast or famine, and all of these people were born on this day, November 19th. The first one is Robert Edward Ted Turner III.
Wow. Founder of CNN.
Founder of CNN, and also
Mary Jane Fonda.
Right, married to Jane Fonda, his third wife. And he also founded WTBS, which pioneered the superstation concept in cable TV.
Sure, I remember that.
Which also made the Atlanta Braves famous because you could see them all across the country.
Right.
Famous for lots of quotes. He's 78 years old today. This was one of his quotes on YouTube that they had. You should set goals beyond your reach so you always have something to live for.
I like that quote.
Yeah. He also had a penchant for a lot of controversial statements. He's nicknamed the Mouth of the South and Captain Outrageous. He was the largest private landowner in the U.S. until John Malone surpassed him in 2011. John Malone
Cable,
from Liberty
Media,
Sirius XM. And they said that Ted Turner used his land for his ranches to repopularize bison. Bison meat.
You wanted to repopulate it, right?
What did I say?
Repopularized.
It says repopularized.
Oh, maybe he wanted it
Make
like
it popular. He wants
as a
bison
product.
to be for patties
You
for
had bison beef, right?
yeah, for Ted's Montana Grill. And he has the largest bison herd in the world. He says one of his other quotes is "Early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise."
That's a little ripoff from your favorite.
Which one?
Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's Ben Franklin. Yeah.
No, this one was work like hell and advertise. Our other business birthday is Jack Francis Jack Welch Jr.
GE.
GE, born November 1935. He's 81 today, retired business executive, author of a number of books. He was a chairman at GE from 81 to 2001. During his tenure, the company's value rose 4,000%. His net worth when he left was $720 million, and his severance pay for leaving was $417 million. I hope he can make it.
Tim, did he come up with Sigma 7?
Six Sigma.
Six Sigma, and that was that whole quality.
Yeah, and it was also you'd lob off 10% of your workforce every year, which always kept people on edge. You also, there's no meetings with tables or anything. Every meeting was
He had the standing, yeah.
He was, he'll end up in Trump's cabinet. And he will. And then the other one is Charlotte Colquette Weber. Do you know her?
Well, you have Campbell Soup there, so what is that?
She's worth $1.63 billion. She's one of the heirs to the Campbell Soup fortune.
Wow.
Lives in, I think it's Hobe Sound, or it's Hobe Sound, Florida. Is it Hobe or Hobe? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that area.
One.
Divorced with 4 kids. She likes horses.
And soup, I hope.
And soup. She had to step down as director because of her age. She's 74 years old. But her billionaire cousins, Bennett Dorrance and Mary Alice Dorrance Malone, are still directors. Her grandfather, John T. Dorrance, invented the condensed soup formula that turned the company into a global soup empire.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
She collects some kind of Chinese frogs, too. She donated them to the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
So they must have been
$20
like
million
ceramic or...
I can't pronounce it. Some kind of frog. They're ugly.
Is it in there?
Yeah. Oh, you want to try
I'd
it?
like to see if I could pronounce it, yeah.
Yeah. Here it is. Kang Shi or something. Bottom there. Can you pronounce that?
Kang Si.
Huh?
The H is
Oh, you
silent.
speak Chinese now?
The H is silent, so it's Kang Si.
You are so full of it.
Prove me wrong.
Kang Si?
Prove me wrong, Da Vinci. I've got art hanging in Stanford's museum.
So you're going to say it's Kang?
Kang Si.
Kang Si. Okay, I'll look it up. I'll check on the YouTube.
Have Siri pronounce it for us.
Oh, she don't know. She can't even pronounce my name. So that's it for the birthdays.
Well, that's excellent. Well, okay, we have. This has been a very diverse day. I know you said there was not much going on, but I thought there was a lot going on. It wasn't exactly a dry,
No, I said that sometimes we don't have enough.
Sometimes you okay.
Yeah.
Okay, John Nash with Tim Bennett. It's the Focus Group. We're going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we have a segment called Business Intel, and we're going to be looking at 13 pieces of career advice you never hear. So stay with us.
Brought to you by the Volkswagen Golf GTI. Named one of Car and Driver's 10 best, 10 years in a row. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Been in business a week. I got more money and I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Herrera Rocher. He is doing well.
I love Bubbles DeVere.
Great character.
Yeah, she is a great character. Welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here. As always with my good friend and co-host John Nash, where we're all business except where we're not. Be sure to follow along with us each week at all of our social media, which is branded Focus Group Radio, or go to focusgroupradio.com and find us on one of the platforms of choice. We're now also on the new Reverie app for Apple TV. And is it Chromecast? I never get that.
Roku and Chromecast as well.
Roku and Chromecast.
Because you could download the app on those platforms as well.
So on a Saturday night, I mean, hey.
You want some
nothing
laughs?
on.
You want to learn? You want to
watch
laugh?
all 30 episodes? How many do we have up? Maybe.
Oh, we have more than that. Yeah, there's now you're right. No, Tim, you may be actually right on the money. I mean 31 or 32, I think.
We don't have a guest today, so you're stuck with John and I prefer it that way, quite frankly.
This is a carryover from our old days on radio. Tim used to love having no guests because then everybody would call in and.
Yeah. So these are, I had found this.
This is a good one.
Article, and it was 13 great pieces of career advice you never hear. So it starts off, and they said a lot of times we all hear things like go the extra mile, do what you love.
Always be the
Always be the first one in, last to leave, that sort of stuff.
I like the word they use, stale.
Yeah.
It's stale
Stale
career
career
advice.
advice.
It's like a canned fart,
So they came up with this list. They asked a bunch of people and came up with this list. This is from the Business Insider. They picked 13 of the best responses for a fresh take on how to make the most of your career. So what was number one?
Did you agree with most of them? They're not really numbered. They were just 13 in
I
a
numbered
row.
them.
But okay. Oh, you
Well, you go one.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So the first one was don't overload yourself. And basically, the woman that gave this quote, Heiress, says, don't look too busy. I've seen smart and dedicated employees fail to get promoted because they have taken too much on, working too hard, and appeared too frazzled. That one was surprising to me. If you appear stressed, people will think you aren't prepared to take more on, and you'll miss opportunities for new and innovative projects. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that's the eager
beaver.
Eager beaver. I'll
Let
do
me
it.
do
I'll do it, and then nothing gets done. But,
Okay, good. All right.
I had a good employee actually that was the opposite of that. Beth. She'd take.
Oh my God! What did you used to say to Beth when we started?
I only had to ask her once, and it was
When
done.
we started working with her, you introduced her in your office, and we were doing a project with her, and you said, "Beth is the most buttoned-up person in the department."
Yeah.
It's got done.
Hey, by the way, we're going to have her on the show.
Are we really?
She invented this new dog
Wait,
collar.
you showed me a picture of it. It's the
Unbelievable.
harness thing.
Yeah.
For your pups. Okay.
And I'm trying it out. It's quite good. Number two, I like this one. Respect common spaces. And they gave the example, never cook fish in the office microwave. We had a guy that would always clip his toenails in his cubicle, which always was delicious, and or clip their nails.
I don't like seeing that.
Well, he wouldn't stop. And so a couple of the women that I work with said, you need to tell him to stop. So we would tell him he wouldn't even hear every Friday before he's going to snip, snip. So we would clip. So she threatened to douche at her desk. She actually brought in a feminine thing. And she said, if he doesn't, she told the manager. And then finally it all stopped. The nail clipping stopped because she was going
to douche your
She
desk.
said, if he can clip his toes, I can douche at my desk.
My God, Tim, I always thought I had a kind of wacky business career, but in fact, mine is like almost dull compared to some of these.
Oh, it's hilarious. I couldn't
coworker
believe it.
Stories.
She's at the faucet, filling it up, announcing to everybody she's getting ready to do it if you don't stop clipping his nails. And then
You don't stop clipping those nails.
I will
I'm
douche at my
douching.
desk.
Okay.
And then the other one was I remembered somebody on an airplane talking about common space. And I saw a flight attendant go crazy. This woman opened up nail polish. And she started doing her nails on the plane,
stinks.
and it stunk up the whole plane.
Yeah, the whole cabin. It stinks.
So, respect
All right,
common
that was
space.
a good one. All right, this one I agree with wholeheartedly, especially when you begin a new job, and it's go to happy hour. If you're invited by coworkers for lunch or happy hour, take them up on it, because if you don't, later on, you're just not going to get asked. If you decline all the time, you're just going to be the person that sits there and brings your lunch in a little Tupperware container or whatever. Not that I have anything against
Did you do
it.
happy hours at Moon City? Or did you just drink in the office?
Because I would actually just walk into Greg's office now and then, and he'd be sitting like it was Mad Men with a highball. He had there was always like, I forget what scotch he drank, but he would take my assistant Josh and his nephew, and they would
highball.
And I'm like, it's 3:00. Yeah, it's time. Have one. I'm like, no.
Why not? He got in at 11.
It was very Mad Men.
Very Mad Men. The other one, number 4, as I've numbered them, seek out tasks that aren't directly assigned. So that is an obvious one. I can use an example for me, although when I was in marketing, there was some of the Japanese partners wanted to do something with LL Bean. And so we put together the yellow bean package. So that was something that was not part of my job description.
Badging project.
Right. It was the yellow bean edition of the Outback, but that was a project that was not on anybody's radar, and it was something that
Was
you took
successful.
over. Yeah.
This next one I really like a lot, because I'll read you the whole thing because I think it's important to hear it this way. Show other people that they're a priority to you. Understand that when people see you check your phone at every call, then don't answer when they call. They then know you put them on a low priority. So if you're watching someone, never take a call.
Right.
You're sending a signal that, like, if I call you, I'm a low priority too. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I also you and I have talked about this before. Just you go in a meeting, shut your phone off, or unless there's some sort of emergency, there's no reason for you to have your phone. But
Not at all. And in fact, you and I have observed the exact opposite of a lot of behavior. The most highly placed executives we've ever worked with will walk into a meeting with a pad of paper and a pen, and they put their hands on the desk, and you've got their attention.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're there for. They don't do the phone stuff.
number 6 is go out of your way to help others. They said even if it's of no direct benefit to yourself, it takes so little energy to answer questions, provide referrals, that sort of stuff. So, it goes a long way to be nice.
Now, there's a bunch here. Actually, this one falls into the category of, I call this career advancement and also career maintenance. Keep in touch with old colleagues.
Right.
The network of people you know who leave your current company are oftentimes more valuable to you than those with your company. So someone who's left and you're still in touch with, they may tell you that there's something available at a different firm. And
That's a good one. I'm kind of half and half on that one. I've done a good job in some cases not, or you lose touch with people.
especially if someone moves across to a different state or something, yeah.
The other one is understand your weaknesses. We talked about this on another show, is knowing what your weaknesses are, being aware of them.
Yeah.
You were impatient, I think.
That was the question. No, we were talking about, on a previous show, we were talking about the interview question that everybody hates, and they answer it by saying, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist."
What's your weakness?
Yeah, So, but understanding your weakness is a little different. It's a blind spot. Learn from those around you. That one's pretty straightforward. Although this one was like, suck up all the information you can by looking at what people around you are doing.
Then the number 10 was take the pressure off your boss.
Yeah, well, I thought.
So ask your boss what his or her biggest problem is and make it go away.
Well, could you imagine the answers?
What's
to
your
that
biggest problem? My wife.
Yeah. There I was going to say, could you imagine the truth coming out? Like, I'm having trouble passing a stool. Well, Dulcolax, I'll go to the store and get you something.
Let's go bend over, Sally.
Practice gratitude. Entitlement is a career killer. Focused on staying grateful and working hard rather than feeling that things are owed to you. That's a tough one.
Yeah. The next one is tough, too.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in getting ahead. And that's easy to say. A lot of people, everybody knows you want to progress through a career.
You want to move.
They said it's okay to take lateral moves to broaden your experience.
And my favorite one of this whole list, actually, it's probably my second favorite one, but I live this, find ways to improve workflow. And that's just
You're an efficiency expert.
Well, I was just looking in the booth at John and Garrett, who do our tech stuff, and workflow is key, especially when you're editing video or something. Like, I'm just talking about workflows in general. So improve workflow.
How's it going?
Well, it goes great.
Do you have a workflow now for this yet?
I have a workflow for the whole show, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's even down to like the monitor. And I'm thinking of, like, I used to always...
that goes off, ding, done. Closes it up, watches an episode of The Crown.
Then the egg timer, you turn the dial and the Crown is done. Time to get back.
Where did you end off on The Crown, by the way? Just so I can ask you. So I like that show.
Okay, so we just ended with Elizabeth telling Philip that she has to keep the name Windsor.
That's where I left off.
So I think we're 3 episodes in, or 3 or 4, and Bob and I, by the way, we were watching The Crown. It's a Netflix show, and we're seeing all these actors who have been in every other British royalty drama. We're like, wait a minute, he played Prince Charles in the last one. Now he's the Duke of Windsor. It's well done. We're enjoying it.
Do you think it's I know Bob's an Anglophile on this stuff. I mean, do you think it's accurate with? Did they really treat the king who abdicated that poorly with not giving him money or anything? So they were pretty.
Yep. Hey, he broke. He left the family business. That was not a smart thing.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. The dialogue in that show, who knows if the characters said some of those things, but the events are historically pretty.
It's like the movie The Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, but I love that stuff.
By the way, I love it. I wondered if the real Queen watched The Queen, or if the real Queen's watching The Crown, like looking at herself saying, was I like that one?
Why wouldn't you? I mean, what else are they doing? You open a hospital and
snip the right, yeah.
Watch the horses go by, hear the bugles, and then watch a little bit of the show.
All right, that was 13 great pieces of career advice you never, ever hear.
And you won't again.
And you won't again. John Nash with Tim Bennett. It's the Focus Group. We're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, a little interesting Shop Talk about startup businesses that are focused on end of life, and I'll leave it at that. So stay with us.
Brought to you by the redesigned Volkswagen Passat, where family happens. Visit VW.com to learn more. Now, back to the focus group with Tim and John.
Glamour today is nothing but a tight skirt, loose hips, and wet lips.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Make it work. Make it work. Make it work.
Oh, Tim, are you watching Project Runway?
Yeah, we usually always watch the Project
I
Runway.
haven't watched this season.
It's a great show. You could just keep fast forwarding.
Yeah.
To the show, the runway.
I like the runway. Back in the day, we had Tim Gunn on that joined us here on the Focus.
He was a great guest. I loved having
guest
Tim
and very
Gunn on.
prepared, and he was a lot of fun. So it's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. We're now in the segment of our show that are the part of the show we call Shop Talk. And this one is titled Startups for the End of Life. And John had found this article. It's essentially talking about the funeral industry and how, as so many other industries have been changed with technology, one of the last stalwarts has been the funeral business.
How big of a business?
Death and dying. I think it's is it 18 billion?
Very good. I circled that $18 billion funeral industry, which they actually call the death care industry. Yeah. Which I never heard that term before, but it's the death care industry.
So they said a lot of people, as the millennials have come into the space and are used to getting lots of things online and expect to curate and get everything online and buy that way, that there's been some tech startups that want to capture a slice of this sector for the funeral business. And they said the baby boomers are starting to be comfortable with it as well as they do more online shopping. And so they talk about four different sites or four different apps.
Yeah.
And John and I liked some of these. The first one was called Willing, which provides state-specific estate planning documents online that can be updated anytime. So it's like a TurboTax for estate planning. For
creating a will.
Wills, right.
And the best part is?
$30.
$30. You know, I remember when Bob and I had our wills done, that's an appointment with an attorney.
Yep.
It's $150 to $200 for that hour and a half or the hour that they give you. And basically the one...
And isn't it like $1,000 for the paperwork? I thought mine was pretty expensive. Mine needs to be updated.
You know what? You may be right. I don't remember how much we spent, but this appealed to me because many people, I think a lot of people, unless you have some crazy, like I'm leaving my Smurf collection
right.
to this person, I'm leaving my Star Trek dollies here, Darth Vader goes there. I don't have any of that, but...
You don't have any Star Trek dollies?
Well, I'm not. They're not going in a will. And look at...
You have your Christmas ornaments, too.
That's
Christmas
Bob.
ornaments.
Bob is Mr. Christmas.
Those ornaments aren't yours?
I do not touch Christmas. I observe Christmas. I don't set up the tree. I just watch it.
Bob has created a home for you.
I think that's a two-way street, Mr. Bennett.
I made it like a Martha Stewart living.
Yeah.
Bob Barnes living.
Bob Barnes
created a
living.
home.
All right, so anyway, the will, it costs $30 on Willing to do a will, which I think is fantastic. And in most cases, people are leaving their estates to their wife or husband. And in the case where they're both deceased at the same time, like a plane accident or something, it usually goes to nieces or nephews. It's very easy to figure out, so I think Willing is a cool one.
Somebody actually bought it on Groupon, which I was surprised to see. I'm sure they love that because the Groupon thing's usually sometimes problematic and they get overflowed.
Exactly.
But so is that an app or was that just a website?
It's a website.
Willing, Willing. What
Yeah.
was the next one?
This next one is called Parting. And Parting, you go to the website, you plug in your zip code, and up comes a list of all the services that are related to like a death experience. So it would be the funeral homes, florists, the whole thing. And a lot of the funeral directors and people who own businesses are actually happy to be listing there because that's a great way to find people.
A lot of them are single-owned businesses.
Family,
right?
small
Right.
family business. So it's Parting. Parting is the website there.
The other one I liked as well, it started out in Los Angeles. It's called Grace, Grace. And I thought this one was interesting.
Probably the best.
Right, because we all have been there or will be there, unfortunately. But it takes you through the process of what you need to do once someone
Passes away.
And so it says, for instance, there was a quote, like, what are the 60 things I need to do in the next 3 months? And so Grace says, here are 17 things to do this week. And then you check them off as you go along. And there's actually somebody there to guide you through the process as well, and connects you with other sort of providers, estate attorneys, financial planners, funeral homes, etc. But I often wondered about that when it goes into motion of you have to handle someone's estate.
Oh my God.
All the things that need to be done and people notified, and even went as far as talking about, what do you do with accounts?
Oh, checking, savings, bank accounts, and a lot
Social media.
the social media one is.
So I think Grace is a good one as well.
In the last startup they profiled in this article about the wave of startups for the end-of-life business was called Cake. Now, this one just got some funding, so I'm not sure what the site looks like. I didn't check this one out before we did the show. But basically, this is a site that helps you design I want to call it, they're calling it health decisions at the end of life. It's kind of like a power of attorney almost. It's basically your wishes about what happens if you happen to be on life support, if you happen,
whether you want to be on life support or whether you want to be on where you want your remains. You want to be cremated? Do you want your body donated to science? And this one here too talks about social media, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And if it's a living will, the whole thing. So there's a lot of little things that get put in here. And your Cake profile, if somebody has access to it, would give somebody a roadmap to how they want things done. Especially if it's end of life care, like you're not deceased yet, but it's stuff about when to make decisions. And
they say they store it up in the cloud or whatever. But I wondered how that worked. Is this something you think is included in your will? So would you put the Cake?
This is you ask a fascinating question here because. Someone's going to have to know how to find it, right? I think the end result of Cake and willing is a printed document. So your data is stored, but you do print a document out and you put that. So let me ask you a question. You have a will, right?
Yeah.
And now someone has a copy of it, right?
No.
Your executor or... Oh, all right. You want to do that.
It's in case I get hit by a bus on the way home. It's next to my desk in a file cabinet. This is Tim's will.
In your office?
My office.
All right, that could be a spelunking expedition.
No, you'll find it pretty quick.
Okay.
Right between my car.
All right, so you know the kind of thought process behind that?
What's that?
Well, you have an executor or a family member. When you
I don't know who I picked.
It
might be, for all I know.
When you execute, Pennsylvania you might have to have someone in Pennsylvania. New York State requires someone in New York State. So you can't just, like, if you had a relative that lived out of state, it's very complicated.
I don't want to move the money.
But an attorney would tell you that when you get your 2 or 3 copies of your will, by all means, give one to a family member and give one to your executor. They'll file it away, but if something happens, there's an easy way to find the document.
You have a will?
Yep.
When's the last time you did it?
10 years ago.
So now that you and Bob got married, do you have to update it, or is that not
necessary? We can update it, and I'm actually thinking of using this willing site to do it because it's a very straightforward document.
Could you just amend what you have, or you think you'd want to change it? I wondered about that in wills. In other words, could you just take your original will you did and just put in a page addendum to it?
Yeah, as long as it's notarized and signed, you can do that. Yeah. But I thought this was when you and I were talking about this article, I said to you, I'm not entirely sure what I think of this, but after I did more research and we read about it, I think this is a smart thing.
I think it's good, and I just had an acquaintance that passed away suddenly that our age, not prepared.
Yep.
And it would be good to have these things.
What we haven't discussed that I would love to discuss with somebody is the following. You and I have a good friend whose business partner passed away years ago. They had to hire a forensic specialist to get into his laptop to get company records.
To get company records, bank account information, credit card information, a lot of the clients' presentations.
Just in a box, in a laptop that no one can enter because they didn't have the password.
Yep.
So after that happened, you and I changed the way we actually keep our records.
You smartly put all the passwords in the Dropbox.
Yeah. everything's accessible for a credit card. And we have a simple business compared to some others, but I know in his case.
No, but if something happened to me, and I've seen it, I cringe, people that have passed away and their Facebook accounts are still going, and then someone who's not really close to them doesn't know, and they wish them happy birthday, and you're like, oh, happy anniversary.
I did read something about that where you could actually stipulate in your will who can terminate your account. And that's
But don't you still need the passwords and everything?
You do, yeah.
And that's the tough thing. And so I've started writing down my passwords as well. But I thought of that. I have Facebook. I don't know what else. I don't really have any other social sites.
Of course, if you're not around, you're not going to care.
Happy birthday.
If you're not around, you're not going to care if something goes wrong.
That's true.
The focus group.
Well, there you go.
All right, so that was some startups that are dealing with the end-of-life business. Our favorite was... what was it? Willing, which is a very inexpensive will service. And what was it Parting?
We liked them all, but
Grace.
Willing and
Grace. Grace was all the questions people have to get answered in a short amount of time when a death occurs.
Are you going to be buried or are you going to be cremated? What are you doing? Body
I would like
science?
to be. I want to be cremated.
Okay. Is that in your will?
Yeah. Including our wills also include our powers of attorney and our end of life requests if they're on a machine or stuff like that. So that's one reason why you would want to do this, is just so someone has an idea about it. I know it's grim.
Well, it's better to do it now than
just
having to worry about it
later on.
Right.
All right, that's been the show, folks.
On that happy note. Go get your wills done.
Get your will done.
Cremated.
Ask the questions. Are you being cremated? Big thank you to our partner here on the Focus Group, Volkswagen Group of America. Tim and I, a few weeks ago, did a fantastic trip in the new All-Track wagon, all-wheel drive vehicle from VW. We urge you to check it out if you're in the market for that type of vehicle. It's a really great drive, and we don't say that idly. We've driven a lot of cars in our business career, so we really enjoyed this one. VW.com for all the details. Thanks for spending time with us, and we'll see you next week.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.